Imagine this. Someone insults you and within seconds you're angry. Someone ignores you and your mood changes. Someone criticizes you and you spend the entire day thinking about it. It feels normal. But what if every reaction reveals a weakness? What if each emotional response shows people exactly what hurts you, what controls you, and where you can be manipulated? Most people don't realize it, but every time they react impulsively, they reveal a piece of themselves. This is why the most effective forms of control rarely involve force. They involve emotion. A manipulator doesn't need to overpower you. They only need to find the right insecurity, the right fear, or the right desire. Once they do, influencing your behavior becomes much easier. History is filled with intelligent people who lost opportunities, relationships, and power, not because they lacked ability, but because they lacked emotional control. Machiavelli understood something about human nature that remains true today. People are always watching. They notice what makes you defensive, jealous, insecure, or desperate for approval. And the moment someone discovers what disturbs your peace, they discover a way to influence your decisions. Think about the last argument you witnessed. The person who lost control first usually lost more than the argument. They lost authority. Meanwhile, the calm person often appeared stronger, even if they said very little. People can exploit your anger and fear, but they struggle to control someone whose emotions remain disciplined. The brutal truth is simple. The people who anger you often control you more than you realize. If a stranger can ruin your mood with a few words, they have influence over your mind. But this isn't even the most dangerous part. The real danger begins when people learn to use your emotions against you deliberately. And that's where true psychological control begins. The reason emotional control is so powerful is because most people don't possess it. They believe emotions happen to them, rather than understanding that emotions influence them. The moment someone makes them angry, their behavior changes. Their judgment becomes weaker. Their words become careless. Their actions become predictable, and predictability has always been a weakness. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to manipulate. This is exactly why skilled manipulators provoke reactions. They don't always attack your strengths. They attack your emotions. Sometimes it's an insult. Sometimes it's criticism. Sometimes it's silence. They know that if they can control your emotional state, they can often control your decisions. A person who remains calm under pressure becomes extremely difficult to influence because their actions are guided by reason rather than impulse. Look at social media. Every day, millions of people allow strangers to control their emotions. A single comment ruins their mood. A negative opinion stays in their mind for hours. An argument with someone they'll never meet steals their attention and energy. The stranger moves on with their day, while the emotional reaction continues to live inside the victim's mind. That's how power works. The person who controls your emotions controls a part of your life. Machiavelli understood that power is not just about influencing others. It is also about refusing to be influenced by things that don't deserve your attention. The moment your emotional state depends on the behavior of other people, you surrender a portion of your freedom. And most people do this every single day without realizing it. But emotional control doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionless. That's where many people get it wrong. The goal is not to feel less. The goal is to let your emotions serve you instead of ruling you. Because once your emotions become your master, someone else can eventually become your master too. And this leads to an uncomfortable question. If your reactions can be predicted, then how easy would it be for someone to control you? One of the greatest misconceptions about power is that powerful people never feel emotional pain. They do. They feel rejection, betrayal, embarrassment, and disappointment just like everyone else. The difference is that they don't advertise it. They understand that emotions are private, but reactions are public. And once a reaction becomes public, it becomes information. Information that can be used, studied, and sometimes exploited. Think about the people who seem impossible to manipulate. They're not always the smartest or the strongest. They're often the hardest to read. When criticized, they remain composed. When challenged, they stay calm. When provoked, they refuse to give others the reaction they were hoping for. This creates something that most people are uncomfortable with: uncertainty. And uncertainty is powerful because people cannot easily control what they cannot predict. Human nature is simple in one respect. People test boundaries. Consciously or unconsciously, they observe how others react. They push, provoke, criticize, and challenge, not always out of malice, but out of curiosity. They want to know where your limits are. They want to know what affects you. Every strong reaction answers those questions for them. This is why silence can be more powerful than an argument. Sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to give someone access to your emotions, not because you are weak, but because you understand the value of self-control. A person who can remain calm while everyone else loses control immediately stands apart from the crowd. The brutal truth is that many conflicts survive only because people keep feeding them with emotional reactions. Remove the reaction, and much of the other person's power disappears with it. Because manipulation requires participation, and the moment you stop participating emotionally, the game begins to change. But there is one reaction that gives away more weakness than any other, and most people display it every single day without noticing. The reaction that reveals the most weakness is the need to be understood by everyone. Most people spend an enormous amount of energy explaining themselves, defending their choices, and seeking validation from people who have already made up their minds. They believe that if they can just say the right words, everyone will finally understand them. But human nature doesn't work that way. Some people misunderstand you because they lack information. Others misunderstand you because they choose to. This is where countless people lose their power. The moment they feel judged, they rush to explain themselves. The moment they face criticism, they become defensive. The moment someone doubts them, they desperately try to prove their worth. What they fail to realize is that desperation is visible, and visible desperation weakens authority. The more you need approval, the easier it becomes for others to control your behavior. Machiavelli understood that reputation is built through actions, not explanations. Powerful people rarely waste time convincing everyone. They know that some people will support them, some will oppose them, and many will misunderstand them regardless of what they say. Instead of chasing validation, they focus on results. Because results silence critics far more effectively than arguments ever can. Think about the strongest people you've known. Chances are they weren't constantly explaining themselves. They didn't feel the need to justify every decision or defend every opinion. They understood something that most people learn too late. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your explanations. The more selective you become with what you reveal, the more control you maintain over your own life. The brutal truth is that people who constantly seek understanding often become prisoners of other people's opinions. Their confidence rises when they're praised and falls when they're criticized. Their emotional state becomes dependent on external approval, and dependence has never been a source of power. But if seeking approval creates weakness, then what creates true emotional strength? The answer lies in a mindset that very few people ever develop, and once you understand it, the way you deal with criticism, rejection, and disrespect will never be the same again. True emotional strength begins when you stop expecting the world to be fair. Most frustration comes from expectations. People expect loyalty and receive betrayal. They expect respect and receive criticism. They expect honesty and receive deception. Then they suffer not only because of what happened, but because reality failed to match the story they had created in their minds. The stronger your attachment to expectations, the easier it becomes for reality to control your emotions. This is why emotionally resilient people are often difficult to shake. They understand human nature. They know that people can be selfish, inconsistent, emotional, and unpredictable. Because they expect imperfection, they are not shocked when they encounter it. While others waste energy being surprised by human behavior, they remain focused on their own response. And that difference changes everything. Think about how much control people gain over you when they know exactly what reaction to expect. They know you'll become angry. They know you'll become defensive. They know you'll seek revenge. They know you'll chase approval, not because you've become cynical, but because you've become realistic. Realism protects emotional stability. It allows you to see situations clearly instead of through the lens of hope, fear, or disappointment. And once you stop expecting the world to protect your peace, you realize something powerful. Protecting your peace is your responsibility. And that realization is where true emotional freedom begins.